Friggin' YouTube people always want a comparison. They always want us to take a look at the different bikes. Oh, Yammie, this one's 1,000cc, that one's 1,000cc. Which one's faster? Which one's gonna go better? Which one has the better engine in? Which one pulls harder at this RPM? Blah, blah, blah. Look, guys, this comparison makes no sense at all. I don't even know why we're doing this comparison. Why would you want to see some amazing superbike versus another amazing superbike? It's not like they both make a ton of power or anything like that. It's not like you're gonna watch this whole video and see them make crazy exhaust sounds and crazy sounds all with everything else. And it's such an amazing bike, you have to keep watching and watching the difference and watch the freaking video!
Yeah, calm down. You okay, buddy?
I think I probably had too much Monster Energy today when I got on the ZH2. Yeah.
So it's all right. This is the fun part of the job, comparing these
You're right.
two crazy, completely bonkers machines.
You're right. This is the fun part of the job. And even though this comparison doesn't make a lot of sense, we're going to have fun and compare these two very different motorcycles. Now, in case you guys live under a rock, look at this thing. You know what it is. It's the CBR 1000 RR SP Fireblade. We're giving this thing away. It's one of our new giveaway motorcycles, and you definitely should hit the link down below to YN Moto, our brand new store. Get yourself anything you want on that store. Use the code Fireblade10 for 10% off and get yourself 2x entries to win our new expert bike giveaway. This thing was our old expert bike, and it's actually been spoken for. It's heading up to Michigan, and it's gonna live a beautiful life up there, probably doing massive nooners and highway pulls, because I don't know of any good twisty roads up in Michigan.
I'm sure they're, buried between the cornfields.
Something like that, yeah. So, Spite, why don't you walk us through why these two bikes are so different besides the obvious kind of, they look super different type of thing.
Right, so, hyper naked, right? And hyper sport here. So I guess they both have hyper in the name, but so here we're looking at a, off the wall naked motorcycle. It's still putting down almost this one's definitely over 200. Stock, it's about 197, which, oh no, not 200 horsepower, how dare they?
And what, 103 foot-pounds of torque?
103 foot-pounds of torque, which is prodigious.
Nice.
And this thing has all sorts of crazy technology in it. However, for an extra $11,000?
For an extra RS660.
Yep, you could get that in an RS660, or this and electronically adjustable suspension. 11 rider mode adjustment levels and all sorts of crazy whiz-bang technology, a sick paint job, and winglets.
Well, you couldn't ask for anything more than that, right?
Yeah.
That's the superbike. It was designed to compete in World Superbike, proper superbike frame, 215 horsepower, naturally aspirated, not supercharged like this idiotic motorcycle over here. And it just goes about its business in a totally different kind of way. So today, we're gonna take these two bikes out and see if they have anything at all in common. I don't think they will, but we just thought it'd be fun to take these two bikes out and just have fun and flex on them because this is our last week with the ZH2, and we just wanted to ride it some more. We just had the first service done, and I don't want to give it away, but I must. I must. So let's head over to the vlog. We interrupt this important Fireblade content to bring you an even more important message from Cardo, Spike.
So, you're racing around on your big fancy HRC Fireblade going really fast. How are you gonna get communications from your pit crew? What, are you gonna use a pit board like it's 1992? No, you gotta get yourself a nice communicator, something like this.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you can't have those in racing. You have to use the pit boards. The
pit boards are dumb. This is so much fancier. Look at that. You can literally just slap a Pack Talk Bold on the side of this thing, pop it on your noodle, and hear what somebody in a helmet is saying, and look really cool at the same time.
You do look very cool with it on, I know,
it's really official.
We should use those on the Yammcast. It would look awesome. But seriously, guys, if you want the chance to communicate with your rider, if you're on the side of the track or something like that, this is a great way to do it. Great for motocross, great for training on track, maybe not necessarily racing like Spite said, but a great tool nonetheless. Cardo has these new headsets, and they are very, very awesome. Let's get back to the ZH2 versus Fireblade content. Alrighty folks, here we are aboard the brand new Fireblade and the ZH2. A world first on YouTube. No one's ever compared these two bikes back to back, I don't think. I've only ever seen these bikes on racetracks on YouTube anyways, which we were definitely going to do with it. But man, for me, the first thing I noticed, having spent a lot of seat time on the ZH2, the front end feel on this Fireblade is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Wouldn't you agree, Spite?
Yeah, totally. I don't know my ass from my elbow about this stuff, but like I get this thing on the side of the tire and I just feel the front end dancing and wiggling and squirming. And when I was riding that thing around, it's so laser focused. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's the difference of when you buy a street bike with 200 horsepower and you buy a race bike with headlights, which this thing literally is.
I mean, let's be fair though, the ZH2, I mean, it's still a capable-ish motorcycle. It's just not nearly as capable as that is.
Yeah, I mean, kinda. Like, you know, you have the peg situation on the ZH2 is pretty rough whenever you get it on track. You end up scraping stuff really quickly on it, but yeah, I mean, it's still a sport bike, still a standard bike. It'll still hustle around twisties, but my God, the Fireblade. It's just magic.
It's a whole other world on that thing. It's wild to feel.
God, it's so good. Oh man, this is just one of those bikes you just get carried away when you ride. You're just like, you just want to just enjoy every second when you're on this thing.
It's hard not to. It really, I mean, it's so flattering and so elegant and so graceful that it makes every corner just so much fun.
Yeah. But to your point, it does not have a supercharger, and that is such a fun thing that the ZH2 has.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I'm sitting here with Tweety Bird and a blender underneath me, and it's chuckle-worthy, man. You get that instant just smack of torque down low.
Yeah, any rev, you just pull the throttle, and it's like, yeah, let's go!
And that's really what I love about motorcycles, for the street, anyway. I really love, you know, just a raucous character where it turns every corner into a bit of a brawl.
Yeah, whereas this thing here, you know, I told you this earlier, it feels like you're eternally pitting into a track you're never going to get on when you're on the street. I really feel like I'm just in pit lane, I'm trying to get on track, and for some reason I'm never able to get on track.
Yeah, it's never coming except for when you finally get it over to ECR.
Yeah. Well, I've got a day booked to Dakota with this thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I already set that up for sure.
I don't think anybody has ever used the word graceful and ZH2 in the same sentence before.
Absolutely not. The ZH2 only wants one thing, and it's disgusting. The thing that's just amazing about the Honda, it really is the front end. Like, when you jump on the brakes on this thing, you have the confidence like you'd have on a 600. I can't even explain how good the front end is on this thing. You know, I feel like I could seriously start experimenting with trail braking really deep into corners if we were on track with this thing very quickly. But as you said, it doesn't get away from the fact that, you know, I keep talking about how I'm eternally pitting in and how I want to get it on the track. And, you know, we said the ZH2 only wants one thing and it's disgusting. The CBR is kind of like that too. It only wants to go fast on a track.
Yeah, I mean, I can have a good, stupid, giggly time with this motorcycle anywhere. You know?
Yeah, I definitely can.
It's so much fun to just whee on this motorcycle. You give it just a little bit of gas and you're having a fun time. You give it a lot of gas and you're having a really fun time.
I would comment on the shifter feel, but I'm just in one gear this whole time.
Just sitting in first gear the whole time, just having a little bit of party?
Yeah, I'm in second gear actually, but I could just be in first because the gears are so close that it doesn't even really matter.
The super scooter party.
Yep, I'm now in first gear, and it's totally doable. It's a giant scooter. Which is a funny thing to experience on a bike when you're, you know, it almost leaves you wanting so much more if you ride it in these conditions, because you're like, I just want to see what this thing can do, but I can't see what it can do anywhere.
As silly as it is to say, you can kind of feel where the limit is on this motorcycle on the street just because it's so wonky and squirmy. You don't want to push it.
No.
So you're completely content to just have a nice Sunday cruise with it and then experience 200 horsepower when you pull onto the freeway.
Yeah, and that's a pretty solid thing, you know? And also the fact that it's $11,000 cheaper than this bike.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big chunk of change. That's a whole other motorcycle, a whole other nice motorcycle. Let's swap really quick and notice some more differences, shall we?
Let's do it.
We've got a really hard job today. You know, we've got to ride a ZH2 and a Fireblade around.
Yeah, I mean...
But somebody's got to do it, man, you know?
Woe is us. I love that sound.
It's so ridiculous.
It just doesn't do that, you know? It doesn't have that raucous, like, let's go!
Yeah, no. Until you get it up above 10,000 RPM.
But even then, it's not like... It doesn't feel angry when it does that. It just feels like, you know, it's gracefully taking you by the hand and pulling you down into a corner, just like guiding you through.
Yeah, I think after riding the Fireblade, you jump on the ZH2 and you realize just how stupid of a motorcycle it is.
Yeah, you really do.
It really is just a friggin' Z650, basically, with a supercharged engine.
Man, the brake feel too is just, it's so much nicer. Everything on this is nicer.
Yeah, I want everything to feel much nicer on the Fireblade than it does on the ZH2, because yeah, it's $11,000 more.
One thing I'm actually kind of glad that this motorcycle does not have is cruise control. That would be a little infuriating if this motorcycle had cruise control.
Yeah, BMW S1000RR, I believe, comes with cruise control and heated grips as standard because they know that nobody's taking them out to the track, which makes me sad.
So does the ZX10R and RR.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. It's got the same dash as that motorcycle.
Yeah. Whereas I'm pretty sure that dash that's on the Fireblade is only for the Fireblade.
Yep. You only get this one here, and it's got a whole bunch of different modes and stuff. Oh, it's blinking mad at me because I don't have the key in my pocket because it's too smart.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It's like, I've been stolen.
It's probably alerting somebody at Honda right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't just cut power on you and it's like, you're only limited to like 15 miles per hour without the key.
I will say though, as comfortable as I feel on it, I do not feel comfy. Because this seating position is unpleasant.
Yeah.
It's hurting my back and my neck just trying to lift my head up. It's not a comfortable ride.
Oh, and one point we should make is, guys, we cannot, in good conscience, test acceleration tests between these two bikes. Spite and I would probably go to jail very quickly if we did that, so we're not going to be doing any direct pull-to-pull comparisons.
Yeah, just know that the ZH2 is faster from the jump, but the CBR is faster everywhere else.
Yep. It'd be a case of where you get it off the line, ZH2 probably pulls a little bit, and then Honda gets into the power band and just rips everywhere, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That was a nasty little bit of gravel back there.
Yeah, no, we finally tested it off-road. Feels great.
We finally scrambled the Fireblade. Yeah, we joke that we scramble all the giveaway bikes, but that is one we will never, ever even get close to anything like that.
Nope.
Oh man, these bikes just could not be more different, man. It's ridiculous. It's almost like when you decide a bike is going to be for the racetrack and one's going to be for the street, they end up feeling really different.
Yeah.
Imagine that. But it's really cool showing them in the limelight of an expert bike giveaway series because I do think these are both expert level bikes. You should not be piloting either one of these machines until you've had several years in the saddle on other lesser motorcycles.
I've been riding for 5 years, probably a little bit more now. And I get on this thing and I'm like, okay, no thanks. I'm good. I don't have the skill to ride this motorcycle.
Yeah. And even if you did on the street, it's way too crazy to use for that skill set. But hey, it is sure pretty to look at.
Oh my God, it is just next level sexy.
Well, Spike, we've proven that they feel very, very different, but we didn't discuss why they feel different. You want to go do that?
Let's do it.
Alrighty guys, as you can tell, there's very little in common between these two bikes. I think in terms of the Venn diagram, it might just be their displacement is about the same, and that's where the similarities kind of end. And we're trying to figure out what is really the thing that makes them super different between each other. And Spike, what would you say is the #1 thing that just splits these bikes apart?
Honestly, the biggest thing is probably the frame on this motorcycle, both of these bikes, because this trellis frame, I mean, it looks cool, it's green, but when you actually try to ride this bike at anything more than, you know, okay, lazily going through the corners, you really feel a little bit of flex and shimmy out of the chassis, and the engine just feels like it wants to rip the whole motorcycle apart all the time.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of the charm of riding this bike. I think it's really fun to ride this motorcycle and have it be so aggressive and so mean all the time.
Yeah.
But you get on that and you just feel what a just perfectly suspended chassis feels like. It's so good.
Yeah, it's beyond just the suspension components, right guys? Like this NPX fork up here at the front is incredible, but it's paired with this delicious twin spar true superbike frame. The swing arm on this thing versus the swing arm on that is like a joke, right? Like
yeah.
it's so much more beefy, so much more compliant. And you know, I just think that there's really very little in common when it comes to handling on these two motorcycles. I think Dave Moss said it best when he talked about the ZH2. He's like, oh, they took a Z650 and they shoved the supercharged engine in it. That's cool. Because that really is how it feels. It feels like it wasn't designed to have that much power, which to Spite's point is what makes it lively and interesting to ride. But if you're looking for that perfect riding experience, the magic carpet that this thing is, you're just not going to get it from this. Even if you were to put NPX forks on this motorcycle, it wouldn't work. I think for me, the big difference is gearing too.
Yes.
This bike ends at 95 miles an hour in first gear. You can literally ride it in one gear basically everywhere. And that bike over there, you can actually row through the gears a little bit. The red line isn't as high, the gear's a little bit shorter. And so you can actually ride it in a lot more of a fun, normal kind of way.
Yeah, you can, you know, it's always fun to bang up gears, especially when you have a quick shifter on a motorcycle. It's really fun to just hear the bike do its thing and keep it pinned. If you do that on this motorcycle, you are going so fast.
Yeah.
Like by the time you're in like third gear.
Yeah, if you rode through all the way up to third gear, you're doing like 138 miles an hour, which that's where this thing kind of starts being like, all right guys, like I don't have any more aero in me to go that fast.
Yeah.
I think also as well, the ZH2, it makes a big splashy impression with its power down low. Like you jump on it in first gear and you get on, you're like, holy crap, it's got punch. Whereas this thing builds, and then skyrockets to the top of the RPM.
Yeah, it's just that, it's that perfect like parabolic shape where it's good, and then yoink, straight up. It's so, the way they make their power is so completely different. And that's obviously down to the fact that this has a supercharger in it.
Yeah.
I mean, forced induction, obviously this thing's gonna hit like a freight train down low.
It truly pulls like an absolute animal down low. And for me as well, I never thought I'd say this because I didn't think we'd get to this level really, but you know, the difference in the electronic packages on these bikes is super different. You know, this thing, we were mentioning the on-off throttle is just, you don't even notice it come back on throttle. It is so buttery smooth, everything's so perfect and controlled, and it's constantly adjusting and thinking. Whereas this feels like it has like a third grader's understanding of what traction control should be. It's like, okay, wheel come up, no wheel come up, wheel go sideways, control a little bit. You know, it's not quite as smart as this bike.
It does the bare minimum to make this motorcycle rideable.
Yes.
Because if it didn't have it, it would be nightmarish to ride this motorcycle. It would be
horrifying. It already kind of is. It's a little hairy to ride.
And I mean, they did enough to this motorcycle to make it usable, right? Whereas this motorcycle has everything under the sun that you could possibly want to shave just another 100th off of your lap times. I mean, that's what it's designed to do.
Yep.
And I mean, this is the top spec Honda electronics package. It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Nope. And it's really interesting because in days past, you know, electronics like this were reserved for super top-end leader bikes, crazy race bikes, and the street stuff didn't have them. But nowadays, you need to put electronics like this on a motorcycle like this to make it rideable, because otherwise it's simply not rideable if you don't have an electronics package saving your butt while you're on track or even on the street. I think that this motorcycle, in its form right now, needs electronics. You have to have something massaging the power a little bit, otherwise you need to be a 99th percentile rider to ride this thing.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, with how powerful that front brake is. You would go ass over tea kettle so easily if you weren't paying attention. And then the bike is like, okay, no, I'll save you, pat you on the head, make you feel like a superhero.
Yeah.
This thing, it's just like, you won't skid the front tire. That's all I can promise.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Do you think it's worth a $11,000 premium over this riding experience to have this?
Okay, so this is actually really tough for me because I can appreciate how amazing this motorcycle is, even though it's not meant for me. This thing, you know,
It's
it
so
rocks.
comfortable.
Yeah, it rocks up to the bar and it's like, get the hell out of my way. It's my turn. Big thing. This is like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Right.
So I like that brawl feeling. And you don't get that out of this. It's not a brawl to ride. It's like, this thing is just ushering you to the next level.
Yeah.
And this thing is like, no, man, we're staying down here in the gutter and we're gonna fight it out. So
I think the giggle factor is definitely a lot higher on this bike. So if you're looking for a street experience that's just like giggly and stupid and silly, it's the ZH2 all day. If for some reason you think you're worthy to ride this thing, which I'll tell you guys, as a club racer, big track day enthusiast, I don't even feel like I'm worthy to ride this bike. I think you said the same. You're like, I'm on it. I'm like, why am I on this thing?
Yeah,
I have no business being on this motorcycle.
Nope, I'm completely comfortable in my, you know, just self-awareness to know that I have no business riding that thing around.
Yeah, but if you want an amazing bike to flex on all your friends, this one does a pretty good job of doing it. I have never seen a CBR 1000 RR SP Fireblade out in the wild except for this one.
Yeah.
Never seen one.
I haven't even seen them at a dealership. This is this is the only one that I've ever seen in person, and it is just drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah.
In a way that this thing just can't compete with.
No, I don't think so. So, guys, if you ever wanted to know what the differences between a ZH2 and a Fireblade are, I think we've got you covered there. Remember, that was our former Expert Bike giveaway. This is our new Expert Bike giveaway. Go to YN Moto, get yourself some tires, some helmets, some gloves, anything you've been skimping out on. Use the code Fireblade10 for 10% off. It's 2x entries to win this motorcycle. Make sure you get entered to win it, and we'll catch you on the next one. See you later. Bummer for you, my little squid. This video is actually over, but lucky for you, there's plenty of other Yammie videos you can check out right over here. What's gonna happen to them? I don't know. I haven't seen them, but you can watch them right now.